Imagine waking up tomorrow morning and instead of reaching for your phone, scrolling through what others are doing, you spend the first few minutes speaking directly to yourself. Not idle chatter, but words that plant seeds of greatness, words that ignite a fire within you. Today, I want to share with you a practice that has the power to transform your life completely. It's simple, yet profound. It's about speaking 7 lines to yourself every morning. 7 declarations that set the tone for your entire day, your entire life. The first line you speak is, I am capable. Too many people underestimate themselves, letting fear and doubt dictate their actions. When you declare, I am capable, you are telling your mind, your heart, and your soul that no challenge is too great, no obstacle too high. The moment you say it, you activate confidence. You begin to move differently, think differently, and act differently. It's not just words, it's a signal to your subconscious that you are ready to rise. The second line is, I am disciplined. Greatness does not come by chance. It comes through consistent action. Discipline is the bridge between dreams and reality. By telling yourself, I am disciplined, you train yourself to focus, to resist distractions, and to stay committed even when the world tries to pull you away. This one line, spoken daily, shapes habits that determine the quality of your life. The third line is, I am worthy. So many people walk through life believing they are not enough. But you must remind yourself every morning that you deserve success, happiness, and love. I am worthy is more than affirmation. It's a declaration that the universe cannot deny. It changes the way you interact with opportunities, with people, with yourself. It tells your inner voice to stop sabotaging your progress. The fourth line is, I will act. Dreaming without action is a tragedy of wasted potential. I will act means no more procrastination, no more waiting for the perfect moment. The perfect moment is now. By saying it, you train your mind to move decisively, to seize what is rightfully yours, and to transform intention into results. The fifth line is, I embrace failure. Most people fear failure, but failure is the teacher that shapes champions. When you speak, I embrace failure, you give yourself permission to learn, to grow, to get back up stronger. You understand that failure is not the opposite of success. It is a part of the journey toward it. The moment you internalize this, nothing can break your spirit. The sixth line is, I attract abundance. Success and prosperity follow those who believe they are deserving. Saying, I attract abundance every morning trains your mind to see opportunities instead of limitations, solutions instead of problems. It changes the energy you carry into the day, opening doors that were invisible before. The seventh and final line is, I am in control. Life often feels chaotic, but the truth is that the power to shape your destiny resides within you. When you say, I am in control, you reclaim authority over your choices, your thoughts, and your emotions. You refuse to be a victim of circumstances and instead become the architect of your own life. Now, imagine repeating these 7 lines every morning for 30 days, 60 days, a year. Your life would change not because the world changed, but because you changed. Your mindset becomes unshakable, your confidence unbreakable, your vision unstoppable. Each line spoken is like planting a seed of greatness that will grow into reality one day at a time. And here's the most powerful part. No one else can speak these lines for you. No one can ignite your fire for you. It is personal, it is intimate, and it is transformational. You are not waiting for inspiration to find you. You are creating it within yourself. You are taking responsibility for your life and your success. So every morning, before you check your messages, before you step into the chaos of the world, speak to yourself. Speak with authority. Speak with conviction. Speak as if your life depends on it, because it does. Speak these 7 lines and watch your life bend toward greatness. Watch doors open, opportunities appear, and obstacles shrink. Watch yourself rise into the fullness of your potential. Your words have power. The words you speak to yourself are the blueprint for your actions. The thoughts you nurture will shape your destiny. So start today. Commit to 7 lines. Speak them with intention. Speak them with belief. Speak them until your soul knows no other truth but your power, your worth, your discipline, your action, your resilience, your abundance, and your control. The world cannot give you greatness. It can only recognize it. Greatness is born within, nurtured by your daily choices, and amplified by the words you speak. Speak these 7 lines and step into a life that commands respect, a life that inspires others, a life that fulfills your potential. Greatness awaits, but it begins with your voice. Speak it, believe it, live it. When you wake up in the morning, the first thought that crosses your mind sets the tone for your entire day. Far too many people begin their mornings with doubt, insecurity, or the lingering weight of yesterday's failures. But what if, just for today, you decided to tell yourself something radically different, something empowering, something transformative? When you say to yourself, I am capable, you are not just making a statement, you are issuing a declaration to your soul, to your mind, and to the universe that you have what it takes to overcome, to succeed, and to thrive. Capability is not about being perfect or never failing. It is about recognizing the potential that already exists within you. It is about trusting yourself enough to take the first step, even when the path is uncertain. Consider the person who wakes up with bills to pay, responsibilities pressing on every side, and a sense of fatigue that feels heavier than the day itself. In that moment, telling yourself I am capable is not empty rhetoric. It is the spark that ignites action. It is the difference between sitting down in defeat and standing up with resolve. Capability is what moves a single mother to find a way to provide for her children, even when the odds are stacked against her. It is what allows the young student, intimidated by exams and expectations, to believe that they can learn, absorb, and excel beyond what anyone predicted. Capability lives in those moments when you feel like giving up, yet you persist because you know your potential is greater than your circumstances. Capability is also deeply rooted in the way you perceive challenges. Every obstacle, every setback, every criticism is an opportunity to exercise it. When you face a difficult project at work, instead of thinking, I can't do this, you tell yourself, I am capable. Suddenly, fear begins to lose its power. The mind that once trembled at the thought of failure now begins to strategize, plan, and act. Capability is the quiet voice that whispers, I may not have all the answers, but I can find them. It is the courage to start, to try, and to persevere, knowing that success is not guaranteed, but your effort is undeniable. Look at the person who wants to change their body, to run that first mile, to lift those weights, to feel healthier. On the first day, the body resists, the muscles ache, and the mind questions the effort. But when you stand before yourself in the mirror and declare, I am capable, something shifts. The act of speaking it aloud creates alignment between your mind and body. Each small step, each push, each breath becomes proof of your own capability. You learn that limitations are often imagined, that what feels impossible today can become achievable tomorrow, and that progress begins with the unwavering belief that you are capable of growth. Capability is not something others can grant you. It is something you must claim for yourself. It is not measured by external accolades, by recognition, or by applause. It is measured by your willingness to confront fear, to try again after failure, to show up when no one is watching, and to trust that your efforts have value. The office worker who takes on a new project without being certain of the outcome. The entrepreneur who invests in an idea despite doubts. The parent who stands firm in teaching their child life lessons. They all embody capability because they refuse to let uncertainty dictate their actions. Consider the man who dreams of starting a business but feels he lacks the knowledge, the resources, or the connections. Each morning, if he begins with, I am capable, he shifts his perspective. Instead of being paralyzed by limitations, he begins to see opportunities. He researches, he networks, he experiments, and slowly the impossible becomes possible. Capability is not about instant success. It is about believing in your ability to navigate the journey, to learn along the way, and to grow stronger with each attempt. Capability also requires reflection and acknowledgement of your past victories, no matter how small. Every time you overcame a challenge, finished a difficult task, or pushed through discomfort, you were capable. Too often, people forget these moments and focus on what they cannot do instead of what they have already done. By reminding yourself daily, I am capable, you are reconnecting with your own history of perseverance and strength. You are telling yourself that you have survived, adapted, and triumphed before, and therefore you can do it again. Finally, capability is contagious. When you declare, I am capable, your energy changes, your actions change, and people around you feel it. Children notice it in their parents. Colleagues sense it in their teammates. Friends are inspired by it in your attitude. Capability does not only elevate you, it elevates everyone who witnesses it. It is the quiet but powerful force that transforms potential into reality, dreams into achievements, and ordinary people into extraordinary examples of what is possible when you truly believe you are capable. Discipline is the invisible force that separates those who dream from those who achieve. It is the quiet power that works behind the scenes when no one is watching. When you wake up every morning and tell yourself, I am disciplined, you are not simply repeating words. You are planting a seed that will grow into unstoppable momentum. Discipline is the commitment to keep moving forward, even when motivation fades, even when challenges arise, even when the world seems determined to pull you off course. It is the daily choice to honor your goals, your values, and your potential, no matter how small the action may seem at the moment. Consider the student who wakes up at 5 a.m. while their friends are still sleeping, knowing they have hours of study ahead. The alarm rings and every fiber of their body wants to hit snooze, but they whisper to themselves, I am disciplined. That single declaration carries them from resistance into action. Each hour spent studying, each page read, each problem solved is proof that discipline is stronger than distraction. It is not always glamorous, but it builds a foundation for achievement that no talent alone can match. Discipline is what allows potential to transform into results, one small choice at a time. Discipline is also about resisting the temptation to settle for comfort. The person who wants to build a healthier body knows the allure of staying in bed, eating fast food, or skipping exercise. Yet every morning when they say, I am disciplined, they override desire with determination. Discipline is the muscle that strengthens every time you choose what is right over what is easy. It is the quiet victory in choosing the gym over the couch, the salad over the chips, the long-term gain over the fleeting pleasure. Without discipline, goals remain dreams, and dreams without action are just illusions. Look at the entrepreneur who is building a business from scratch. There is no guarantee of success, and every day brings uncertainty, obstacles, and unexpected setbacks. Yet the disciplined mind shows up consistently, writes the emails, makes the calls, studies the market, adjusts the strategy, and takes action even when tired or discouraged. Discipline is not about waiting for inspiration. It is about showing up again and again, believing that consistent effort compounds into extraordinary results. The difference between those who succeed and those who quit is often simply that they chose to be disciplined when everything else begged them to stop. Discipline is also about controlling your mind and emotions. Life will test your patience with criticism, delays, and frustrations. But when you declare, I am disciplined, you choose how to respond rather than reacting impulsively. It is the power to pause, reflect, and act with intention. The parent teaching their child a lesson in patience. The manager guiding a team under pressure. The artist perfecting their craft after repeated failure. These are all expressions of discipline in action. It allows you to remain focused on your purpose, to move steadily toward your vision, even when the path is difficult or lonely. In daily life, discipline shows up in small, consistent actions. It is the person who saves a portion of their income every month, who resists unnecessary expenses and builds wealth quietly. It is the writer who sits at their desk every morning to write, even when words do not flow easily. It is the musician practicing scales over and over, the athlete running drills when no one applauds. These small acts, repeated with unwavering commitment, compound into mastery and success. Discipline is the silent architect of achievement. It is rarely recognized, but it is always powerful. Discipline also builds resilience. The person who embraces it learns to persist despite fatigue, boredom, or temporary setbacks. They understand that consistency is more important than perfection, that long-term results are born from daily choices rather than occasional bursts of effort. The person training for a marathon knows the pain in their legs, the sweat dripping, the moments when quitting seems easier, yet their discipline carries them forward, step by step, mile by mile. Without discipline, potential is wasted. With discipline, even ordinary individuals accomplish extraordinary feats. Finally, discipline transforms identity. When you tell yourself, I am disciplined, you begin to see yourself differently. Your self-image aligns with your actions. You become someone who does not procrastinate, who does not give up, who does not settle for mediocrity. It becomes part of your character, shaping every decision, influencing every interaction, and guiding every goal. Discipline is not punishment, it is freedom. The freedom to achieve, to grow, and to live a life that reflects your true potential. When you commit to it daily, it becomes a force so powerful that the world has no choice but to recognize your determination, your consistency, and your unwavering pursuit of greatness. So many people go through life carrying the weight of doubt, thinking they are not enough, that their dreams are too big, that their voice does not matter. When you wake up in the morning and tell yourself, I am worthy, you are declaring a truth that the world may try to hide from you. Worthiness is not about what others think of you. nor is it determined by your achievements or possessions. It is about the recognition that your existence has value, that your voice carries significance, that your life matters. When you embrace your worthiness, you step into a space of confidence, self-respect, and empowerment. Consider the teenager who struggles with self-esteem because they feel different from their peers, because they don't fit in with the crowd, or because they have failed in the past. When they begin each day with "I am worthy," it becomes a shield against criticism and comparison. Suddenly, the opinions that once held power over them begin to fade. They start to see themselves through the lens of potential rather than limitation. Understanding that their uniqueness is not a weakness but a gift, worthiness teaches them to honor their journey, to celebrate their small victories, and to continue striving without the burden of shame or self-doubt. Worthiness is also about the choices you make daily. The person who tells themselves "I am worthy" no longer tolerates relationships that diminish them, work that drains them, or habits that sabotage their growth. They begin to set boundaries with love and confidence. They refuse to accept less than they deserve because they understand that every thought, word, and action should reflect the value they place on themselves. It is the single parent who refuses to allow judgment or struggle to define their self-worth, who works tirelessly to provide a better future for their children, reminding themselves every morning that they are worthy of respect, happiness, and success. Look at the young professional navigating a competitive workplace. Self-doubt may creep in when they see others advancing faster or receiving recognition first. Yet when they say "I am worthy," they internalize that their contribution has value, that their effort matters, and that their voice deserves to be heard. Worthiness empowers them to speak up in meetings, to pursue promotions, and to seek opportunities that align with their purpose. It is the invisible confidence that guides action even in the face of rejection, setbacks, or criticism. It transforms hesitation into courage and fear into determination. Daily life is full of reminders that we are all deserving, yet many ignore them. The person who wakes up to a modest home, a loving family, or even a small opportunity for growth can see it as ordinary or insufficient. Worthiness reframes the perspective, teaching us that every blessing, no matter the size, is evidence of value. It is the gratitude that fuels motivation, the awareness that life itself is a confirmation that we belong, that we matter, and that we are capable of achieving what we set our hearts on. Worthiness also teaches resilience. The individual who embraces it knows that failure does not define them, that mistakes do not diminish them, and that criticism is not a reflection of their intrinsic value. When the artist faces rejection from galleries, the entrepreneur encounters obstacles in building their business, or the student fails a test, the declaration "I am worthy" becomes an anchor. It allows them to rise, try again, and persist without losing faith in themselves. Worthiness fuels perseverance because it is rooted in identity, not circumstance. Consider the person who has been overlooked, undervalued, or underestimated for years. Saying "I am worthy" is not just self-talk, it is rebellion against the voices of doubt, society's judgments, and past experiences. It is a conscious choice to honor oneself despite external validation or lack thereof. It is the courage to step into a room and contribute ideas, to chase a dream that others said was impossible, to love oneself even when others withhold love or recognition. Worthiness is the inner compass that guides decisions, actions, and relationships, ensuring they reflect the respect you hold for yourself. Finally, worthiness is contagious. When you embrace it, others feel it. Your children learn that they deserve to dream big, your colleagues sense confidence in your presence, and your friends are inspired by the way you navigate challenges with self-respect. It is the quiet power that transforms how you interact with the world and how the world responds to you. Worthiness is not arrogance or pride. It is clarity, it is freedom. It is the understanding that your life has inherent value and that you are deserving of everything that aligns with your purpose, passion, and potential. Too many people spend their lives waiting for the right moment, the perfect opportunity, the ideal circumstances. They delay action because they believe conditions must be flawless, when in reality, action itself creates momentum. When you wake up each morning and say to yourself, "I will act," you are not just making a statement, you are making a promise to yourself that you will stop waiting, stop hesitating, and stop allowing fear or doubt to paralyze your potential. Action is the bridge between dreams and reality, between intention and achievement, between possibility and fulfillment. Consider the young professional who dreams of a promotion but fears speaking up in meetings. Each day, they practice ideas in their head, plan what they would say, but never take the step to actually present their vision. Then one morning, they say, I will act, and suddenly hesitation gives way to courage. They raise their hands, speak their truth, and despite the nerves, they plant a seed that can grow into recognition, respect, and advancement. Action is not always comfortable, but it is always powerful because it moves you from dreaming to doing, from planning to executing. Action is also about consistency. It is not about the grand gesture or the once-in-a-lifetime leap. It is about showing up every day, doing the work even when motivation is low, when the mind whispers later, when distractions tempt you to abandon your path. The person training for a marathon does not become a runner by imagining crossing the finish line. They become a runner by running every day, by putting one foot in front of the other, by acting when their body says rest. I will act transforms your day. Today choices into progress, proving that greatness is built through repeated, intentional effort. Look at the parent raising children alone. Dreams of a better life, financial security, or education for their children are not achieved through wishes. They are achieved through action. Waking early to prepare meals, working multiple jobs, helping with homework, providing guidance, and modeling resilience. Every act, no matter how small, reflects a commitment to action. Saying I will act each morning is a declaration that you refuse to let circumstances define your outcome, that your effort, your persistence, and your courage matter more than excuses or obstacles. Action also requires confronting fear. The artist afraid to share their work, the entrepreneur hesitant to pitch an idea, the student anxious about failing. They all face moments where inaction seems safer. Yet the words I will act transform fear into fuel. It becomes a signal to your mind and body that you are willing to take the first step, to risk embarrassment, to learn through doing. Every action, no matter how imperfect, is a step forward. A lesson learned, a door opened. Action multiplies potential as it forces engagement with reality rather than remaining trapped in the world of thought and hesitation. Consider someone trying to build a healthier lifestyle. Every day presents choices to exercise, to eat well, to rest properly. I will act is the reminder to move, to cook, to step out, to lift, to push even when the body protests, even when energy is low. The transformation does not happen overnight, but every small action compounds over time, proving that consistent doing is far more powerful than occasional intention. The mind that says tomorrow is replaced with the determination that today is the moment. Action is not only about personal achievement, it is about responsibility. When you commit to act, you take ownership of your life. The student who volunteers for a project, the employee who takes initiative, the friend who reaches out to help another, the neighbor who steps in to support someone in need. They all demonstrate that action is a reflection of character. Saying I will act is a statement that you refuse to wait for others to solve problems, that you recognize your influence, and that you are willing to participate fully in the life you desire and the world you inhabit. Finally, action shapes identity. When you repeatedly say, I will act and follow through, you begin to see yourself as someone capable, someone committed, someone unafraid of challenges. It becomes a habit, a mindset, a way of living. Your thoughts alone cannot change your reality, but your actions can. Each step you take, each decision you implement, each effort you invest becomes proof of your potential and the embodiment of your purpose. Action turns dreams into reality, ideas into achievements, and intentions into results, creating a life defined not by waiting, but by doing. Failure is not the enemy of success. It is the teacher that reveals what you are capable of. Most people run from failure, avoid it, or let it define them. But when you wake up and say, I embrace failure, you are transforming the very way you experience life. Failure is not rejection, it is redirection. It is not defeat, it is feedback. Every person who has achieved greatness has faced failure. Yet the difference between those who rise and those who give up is the willingness to see failure as part of the journey. Consider the student who fails an exam. They could let the disappointment consume them, whispering that they are not smart enough, not capable enough, not good enough. But when they tell themselves, I embrace failure, they shift perspective. They ask, what can I learn from this? Where can I improve? What steps can I take to do better next time? Failure becomes a lesson, a guide, and a motivator to develop strategies, to study smarter, and to persist. The person who embraces failure grows stronger, more resilient, and more prepared for future challenges. Failure is also about courage. The entrepreneur who launches a new business, knowing there is a chance it may fail, practices bravery every day. Each setback, each rejection, each obstacle is a test, and by embracing failure, they learn to pivot, adapt, and innovate. The same entrepreneur may face months where profits are low, clients are lost, or expectations are unmet. Instead of quitting, they declare, "I embrace failure," and they use every misstep as a stepping stone. They understand that without the willingness to fail, they would never reach the heights they aspire to. Look at the artist or writer who shares their work with the world, knowing criticism is inevitable. Each rejection, each negative comment could be disheartening. Yet when they say, "I embrace failure," they see criticism as information, as an opportunity to refine their craft. They stop fearing judgment and begin focusing on progress. Failure becomes a partner in growth, not an obstacle to avoid. It teaches patience, humility, and the understanding that mastery is a process built on repeated attempts, mistakes, and improvements. In daily life, failure shows up in countless ways. It is the job interview that doesn't go as planned, the business pitch that falls flat, the relationship that ends, or the plan that collapses. Embracing failure means you do not take these experiences as evidence of your inadequacy. Instead, you view them as proof that you are trying, that you are stepping outside of comfort, that you are willing to risk for what you want. Every failure carries a lesson, and every lesson carries growth. The moment you accept this, life becomes less intimidating and more empowering. Consider the athlete who trains for years for a competition and loses. The pain is real, the disappointment heavy, yet by embracing failure, they analyze what went wrong, adjust their technique, and prepare to come back stronger. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of the formula. Each loss, each setback, each mistake is a building block in the architecture of achievement. The person who embraces failure understands that temporary defeat does not define destiny. Persistence does. Failure also teaches humility and empathy. The individual who has failed learns to value effort over perfection, process over outcome, and compassion over judgment. When you tell yourself, "I embrace failure," you allow yourself to be human, to recognize that mistakes are natural and that growth often comes through discomfort. This mindset enables you to support others in their journeys, to share wisdom gained through hardship, and to inspire those who may fear their own missteps. Failure transforms not only you, but also your ability to uplift others. Finally, embracing failure transforms identity. The moment you declare, "I embrace failure," you stop identifying yourself by what goes wrong and start defining yourself by how you respond. You become someone who tries, who risks, who persists, who adapts, and who learns. You begin to see every challenge as an opportunity, every mistake as guidance, every disappointment as preparation for future triumphs. Failure loses its sting, and life becomes a continuous process of growth, mastery, and transformation, proving that the person who embraces failure is the person who ultimately succeeds. Abundance is not just about money, possessions, or material wealth. It is the flow of opportunities, ideas, relationships, and experiences that come into your life when your mind and heart are aligned with possibility. When you wake up and say, "I attract abundance," you are declaring that you are ready to receive the blessings that are already around you, to notice the opportunities others overlook, and to create a life where your potential is fully expressed. Abundance is a mindset before it is a reality. It begins with the belief that the universe, life, and effort have infinite potential to bring goodness to those who are open and ready. Consider the small business owner who feels limited by their current customer base. Every day, they face challenges, competition, low sales, and uncertainty. But when they speak, "I attract abundance," to themselves, they shift perspective. Suddenly, they notice new marketing ideas, potential partnerships, and untapped customer segments. They begin to act on opportunities that were invisible before. Abundance is not about luck, it is about awareness. It allows the mind to recognize possibilities that were previously ignored, and the heart to embrace them without fear or hesitation. Abundance is also about generosity. The person who gives time, energy, and resources freely often receives in unexpected ways. When you say, "I attract abundance," you are opening yourself to the flow of reciprocity. It is like planting seeds. You water them with your effort, your skills, and your care, and eventually the harvest appears, sometimes in ways you never imagined. The teacher who invests extra time in students, the mentor who guides without expecting repayment, the neighbor who helps without seeking acknowledgement. Each of these people creates abundance by believing in the value of contribution and trusting that what they give will return multiplied. Look at the professional who wants a promotion. they could focus only on what they lack: skills, recognition, or support. Instead, by declaring I attract abundance, they begin to see opportunities for growth, learning, and networking. They seek mentorship, take on challenging projects, and offer solutions rather than excuses. Abundance draws attention to effort, creativity, and persistence, and the professional who embodies this mindset begins to attract opportunities naturally. It is the difference between waiting passively for things to happen and positioning oneself to receive what life is ready to offer. In daily life, abundance shows up in unexpected ways. It is the conversation that leads to a new idea, the chance encounter that inspires a career change, the unexpected gift of insight that solves a long-standing problem. The person who believes they are worthy of abundance notices these moments and acts on them. They do not see scarcity where others see opportunity. They do not fixate on lack where others are blind to potential. Abundance is the lens through which they view life, transforming ordinary days into a series of doors opening, lessons revealed, and resources multiplied. Consider someone trying to improve their financial situation. Abundance is not only about earning more, but about recognizing the value in what they already have. Every skill learned, every connection nurtured, every small step toward goals adds to their wealth. The daily declaration, I attract abundance, rewires the mind to notice possibilities, to act on opportunities, and to create momentum that grows exponentially over time. Scarcity thinking keeps people trapped, but abundance thinking frees them to explore, to innovate, and to receive with gratitude. Abundance is also about confidence and vision. When you believe you attract abundance, you carry an energy that others noticed. Your ideas are received with interest, your presence inspires trust, and your actions create opportunities that align with your purpose. It is the artist who receives commissions because they put themselves out into the world, the entrepreneur whose pitch resonates because of their clarity and energy, the professional whose initiative opens doors because they act with faith in what is possible. Abundance attracts abundance, and your belief is the magnet that draws it toward you. Finally, abundance transforms your relationship with life itself. The moment you say, I attract abundance, you stop competing with others for limited resources and start collaborating, creating, and sharing in ways that multiply value for everyone involved. You begin to see life as a field of infinite possibilities rather than a series of obstacles, and your mindset, actions, and gratitude attract more than you could plan or imagine. Abundance is not a destination, it is a practice, a belief, and a way of seeing the world that allows you to receive fully, give generously, and thrive without limits or control. Is not about having power over others or dictating every outcome. It is about mastering your own mind, your emotions, and your actions. When you wake up each morning and tell yourself, I am in control, you are reclaiming authority over your life, refusing to be a victim of circumstance, and choosing to respond to every situation with intention rather than reaction. Too many people live as if life happens to them, allowing moods, opinions, and situations to determine how they feel and what they do. Control begins when you recognize that the most important person you must lead is yourself. Consider the person stuck in a stressful job. They could let frustration, pressure, or difficult colleagues dictate their emotions and performance. Instead, when they say, I am in control, they shift their mindset. They focus on what they can influence, their attitude, their productivity, their decisions. By taking responsibility for their reactions, they stop being overwhelmed by circumstances and start shaping their experience. Control is about responding wisely to what comes rather than being swept away by the currents of life. Control is also evident in how you manage time and energy. The parent juggling multiple responsibilities, the student with a heavy workload, the professional balancing projects and deadlines, all face daily demands that could easily create chaos. When they internalize I am in control, they prioritize effectively, make deliberate choices, and act with purpose. It is the difference between being reactive, pulled in every direction, and being proactive, directing focus to what truly matters. Control allows you to act from strength instead of fatigue, clarity instead of confusion, intention instead of impulse. Look at the individual facing personal challenges, whether in relationships, finances, or health. They could blame others, complain about circumstances, or feel helpless. Instead, by telling themselves, I am in control, they reclaim agency. They take steps to improve communication, create budgets, adopt healthier habits, or seek knowledge. Control does not remove difficulties, but it ensures that your actions are guided by strategy and purpose rather than by fear or resignation. It is the realization that while you cannot always control events, you can always control your response. Daily life is filled with moments that test control. A difficult conversation with a friend, an unexpected expense, a sudden change in plans. These situations could trigger stress, anger, or anxiety. When you declare, I am in control, you pause, breathe, and choose your response. You decide whether to react impulsively, to respond calmly, or to find a solution. Control is not suppression, it is the mastery of self, the ability to act with clarity and integrity even under pressure. It is the skill that transforms problems into opportunities for growth and decision-making into empowerment. Consider the athlete facing intense competition. The outcome may be uncertain, the pressure immense, yet by affirming I am in control, they focus on what they can influence, their preparation, their mindset, their execution. They do not obsess over the scoreboard or the opponent's actions. They concentrate on giving their best effort. Control allows them to perform at their highest potential, knowing that while external factors cannot always be predicted, their commitment, preparation, and response can. Control also extends to thoughts and emotions. The person who struggles with negative self-talk, fear, or anxiety can choose to observe these feelings without surrendering to them. By saying, I am in control, they set boundaries in their mind, redirect focus towards solutions, and refuse to allow destructive thoughts to dictate behavior. It is the conscious decision to think strategically, act intentionally, and maintain emotional balance regardless of external chaos. Control strengthens resilience, confidence, and mental clarity because it is rooted in self-leadership rather than circumstance. Finally, control transforms identity. When you repeatedly declare, I am in control, and act on it, you begin to see yourself as a leader of your own life. Your decisions are intentional, your actions aligned with purpose, and your energy directed toward meaningful goals. People notice it in your calm demeanor, your focused work, and your unwavering resolve. Control is freedom. It is the freedom to choose, the freedom to act, and the freedom to create a life that reflects your vision, values, and potential. It is the ultimate mastery of self that allows you to shape not only your actions, but the trajectory of your entire life. As we come to the close of this moment, take a deep breath and feel the power of your words, the force of your intentions, and the clarity of your vision. The 7 lines you speak to yourself every morning are not just affirmations. They are declarations of the life you are choosing to live. They are the roadmap to your potential, the compass guiding you through challenges, and the fuel that ignites your spirit. Every great achievement, every transformation, every story of triumph began with someone deciding that they were willing to speak to themselves differently, to believe in themselves when no one else would, and to act even when fear whispered to stop. Remember, life does not wait for permission. It does not pause for preparation. The opportunities you seek, the doors you hope to open, the greatness you aspire to, they all respond to action, belief, and courage. When you say, I am capable, you are telling the world and yourself that no obstacle is too great, that no challenge is insurmountable, that your potential is limitless. Capability is the seed, and every choice you make waters it, allowing it to grow into something extraordinary. When you declare, I am disciplined, you are building a fortress around your dreams, protecting them from distraction, temptation, and inconsistency. Greatness is not accidental, it is deliberate, consistent, and cultivated daily. Discipline gives structure to ambition and transforms fleeting inspiration into lasting results. Each morning you reaffirm this truth. You are training your mind, your body, and your spirit to align with excellence. Telling yourself, I am worthy is revolutionary. In a world that often tells you that you are not enough, that your dreams are too big, or that your voice does not matter, worthiness becomes your shield and your compass. It teaches you to honor yourself, to demand respect, and to step boldly into spaces where doubt may have once held you back. Every affirmation of worthiness strengthens your confidence, shapes your decisions, and allows you to live without apology or compromise. When you promise yourself, I will act, you are refusing to wait for the perfect moment, the ideal conditions, or the approval of others. Action is the bridge that transforms intention into reality, dreams into results, and ideas into achievements. Life rewards those who move, who dare, who take responsibility for their outcomes. Every time you act, even in small ways, you are proving to yourself that possibility is created through doing, not wishing. Embracing failure is the hallmark of those who rise. By saying, I embrace failure, you are choosing to see setbacks as lessons, mistakes as guidance, and challenges as opportunities for growth. Every rejection, every disappointment Every misstep becomes a stepping stone toward mastery, wisdom, and resilience. Failure is not the end. It is the teacher that ensures your journey continues with greater understanding, strength, and perseverance. When you speak, I attract abundance, you are opening yourself to the infinite possibilities that surround you. Abundance is not merely about wealth. It is about opportunities, relationships, ideas, and experiences that enrich your life. By believing you are deserving, by acting intentionally, and by staying aware, you magnetize success, prosperity, and growth. The life you desire flows naturally to those who prepare, believe, and receive with gratitude. Declaring I am in control is the ultimate freedom. It reminds you that while you cannot always dictate circumstances, you can govern your response, your choices, and your attitude. Control is the anchor in chaos, the compass in confusion, and the power that ensures your life is guided by purpose rather than reaction. When you claim authority over yourself, you create a life of direction, intention, and unstoppable momentum. Now, imagine carrying these 7 lines with you every day, repeating them until they become ingrained in your very being. Imagine the confidence, resilience, clarity, and energy that flow from them. Imagine the life you will create, the doors you will open, and the person you will become. As Les Brown says, shoot for the moon. Even if you miss, you will land among the stars. As Jim Rohn reminds us, discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. And as Tony Robbins teaches, it is in your moments of decision that your destiny is shaped. These words are not just quotes. They are truths for the life you are choosing today. Your future is not written by yesterday, the opinions of others, or the circumstances around you. It is written by the thoughts you cultivate, the words you speak to yourself, and the actions you take consistently. Greatness begins within, and the 7 lines you speak each morning are the spark that lights the fire. When you commit to this practice, when you truly believe it, when you act on it without hesitation, you will begin to see transformation not as a dream, but as a reality. So stand tall, breathe deeply, and speak your lines with conviction. Tell yourself, I am capable, I am disciplined, I am worthy, I will act, I embrace failure, I attract abundance, I am in control. Believe them, feel them, live them. For every day you speak these words, you are building a life that commands respect, inspires others, and fulfills your highest potential. Your destiny is not waiting for you. It is calling you to rise, to act, and to claim it. The power is in your voice, in your mind, and in your unwavering commitment to yourself.